talking about your past and the things that you've done in the UFC. We're going to be talking about your son and his future in the United States military. Hopefully a Army Ranger coming up here soon, and talk about what you're currently doing in the country and with your work. And I saw this beautiful picture of you out hunting. I'm quite jealous. We'll talk about that that axis deer that you took, right? You're rubbing it in my face that it is probably a monster buck.
It's a trophy. It was a trophy one. At least that's what they told me.
I was using different words.
That's what they told me. They told me it's like, this is a trophy one.
Yeah, because I was out this past weekend and I had the opportunity of three axis. It was incredibly cold. I can make all the excuses in the world, but I missed every shot. So that one hits deep, my friend.
That's why it's hunting.
Yes, that's right.
Not
that's
catching.
Right. Very good. Now, you're doing a lot of hunting these days, right? You were out recently with us at the Mammoth Sniper Challenge, long range shooting competition. I
was there watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been telling everybody about that one because there's one particular challenge that really caught my attention. The one that you cannot see the target.
Oh my goodness.
The communication.
Yeah.
From top of the tower you can see, bottom of the tower you cannot see. You gotta tell the person pretty much shoot on the blind.
Yeah.
Shoot on the air. Right there you hit the target.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta trust each other and communicate.
That's it. No,
that one caught my attention.
And that's one of the things I like about Mammoth a lot is, it is a challenge, right? It's a mentally challenging event, it's a physically challenging event, but there's a lot more environmentals that you need to be involved in and aware of, right? Just the idea of taking away communication from an individual. Like there's a stage called no comms, where you have your primary shooter and your secondary shooter that are engaging targets, but they have to do it without communicating. Right, and how do you do that in sequential sign language? People come up with some.
Do it?
Yeah, they can do that.
I'm good at that. Right? That's no problem for me. Not the sign language, right? But I can communicate just like, look,
right?
Do this.
Because
when I'm teaching kids, for instance, the first 10, 15 minutes, I won't talk to them.
Yeah.
You'll be this quiet in the room. 50 kids in the room. There's no talking. Most I do is like a nod, like. And they all get it.
Yeah.
And the parents are like, how can they not listen like this to me at home?
Right.
My God,
right.
You don't even talk to them. Even the parents shut down their phones. All I need to do is just look at the parents and they're like, okay, put down the phones, don't talk, everybody quiet now. It's just, communication is no problem.
Right. But it's conditioning, right? You got to get people to that position, right? And I would imagine, what is the average age group of children that you're training?
Oh, the kids class is in between 5 to 12, 13.
Yeah. So day one is pandemonium, right?
Not in my class.
Roger that.
An hour class, first 10 to 15 minutes, there's no talking. I don't talk, and I don't tell them to be quiet.
Yeah. So it's almost like learning by fire, right?
And they're all like, okay, they do it. Everything I want them to do it. But so they're going to communicate. Now, on the challenge, the Mammoth challenge, one thing that it's, I don't know. I already pay my dues. Yeah. This sleeping on the hard floor on the sleeping bag, it's not my thing, man. My style of camping is in a 5-star hotel, okay? That's how I camp. Yeah. I don't camp on a sleeping a little sleeping bag in the cold weather. You win.
Yeah,
you can take it.
I'm the same way. Like sleeping outside on the ground, I've
already pay your dues.
I've done that enough in the field. I make enough money that I can sleep in a nice hotel these days, and I'll take that. But it is challenging, right?
Yes.
So if you think about what Mammoth is in the greater context, 3 days of mentally, physically challenging shooting event, where you're asked to do 30 miles over, 30 plus miles over the course of time, pack all the things you need within that event.
And you cannot set up camp and leave it there. You gotta take it with you.
Yeah, everywhere
it's
you
like
go.
You bring your stove, you gotta take it. But okay, traveling from a young age with my kids, I always told them, do not bring what you cannot carry.
Right.
You can't carry a TV, so by yourself. You cannot go up the stairs in the hotel or elevator or train or get in the. You can't take it with you. So don't bring it.
Yeah. There's something to be said about like being a minimalist, right?
Yes.
You know, and it's having the
only
right.
bring what you can carry. If you depend on somebody else, forget it.
Right. And everything that you're bringing is intentional, right? It has a purpose, right? And if it doesn't have a purpose, it doesn't make the pack out. And that's, I think, is important, right? Because I've seen people at Mammoth that are coming in with like 80-pound packs. I'm like, what are you doing, guys? Like, you are not going to make it. And if you do, you're going to be wrecked.
Yeah, it's a pack what you can take, what you're comfortable taking. Picking up, you got to pick up off the ground by yourself and walk with it.
Yeah. So I'm excited. You know, I know a couple people, Royce, and I think what I'm going to have to end up doing is get your son on some TDY, and you and him compete in one of the next Mammoths coming up.
Can I bring a nice
For
motorhome?
Well, we can make some adjustments on the sleeping arrangements.
The distance, no problem. The shooting, the challenge, we can deal with that. No communication, shooting the blind, all the difference. Yeah, we can deal with that. But the sleeping on the ground, man, I won't last one night. I gotta tell you.
Yeah, especially in
first
cold
night,
conditions.
I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to a hotel.
I'm done. Now, how long have you been shooting for?
My father had guns in Brazil, but we were not really allowed to shoot in Brazil. Very hard. I got into it in America when I came to America.
Yeah.
Love the Second Amendment. In Brazil, right now the new president changing the law, but growing up is very hard to get guns. Very hard.
Yeah.
So now the new presidents are making them legal, open up stores and open up places that you can more accessible to get guns.
Yeah.
But coming to America, love it.
I've got all the guns.
It's the freedom that you can go ahead and buy. Not that I'm gonna use. Probably never carry, never use.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just I can have it.
Right.
I wanna go to the range and shoot. You see, I wanna go hunting. So just the freedom to be able to have it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely. And you know, we talk a lot about, you know, today in today's lexicon and the conversation that we had is like, you know, we quite like this question of like, oh, America, and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I want to ask you, somebody that has come from another country and, you know, and have had some incredible successes back in Brazil, here in the United States and across the world, you know, you've seen all sorts of different things. What makes the United States so much different than everywhere else?
Freedom is changing quite a bit. We see a lot of changes happening. I've been here since '84, so I'm more American than Brazilian. Spend more time here than in Brazil, but Brazil is like a different kind of freedom.
Sure.
The freedom that you have it's a trap freedom. It's a fake freedom. It's like, you're free to go ahead and do everything, but in here, you cannot have guns.
Right.
You cannot have a say against the government. You cannot, you see, they just slam another holiday in the calendar and everybody's happy. Put another carnival in the calendar and everybody's happy. Forget about the problems, you see. But over here, you get freedom to buy a gun, and they trying to take that away.
Yeah.
Freedom, if I don't like something, I have my voice, I can vote against. They trying to take that away. So it's becoming very much like Brazil.
Yeah. Does that scare you?
It's scary, but I thought about it, talked to my sons about it. It's still the best. I travel 7 months of the year. America is still the best place to live.
Yeah.
I would not go to Europe. That freedom is gone.
Yeah.
It looks like, we're much more free over here. Free of what? What can you buy a gun? No. Can you buy a knife? No. So it's like a baseball bat? No.
Right.
It's like, what kind of freedom is that?
Right. Your freedom ends at the point of self-defense.
It's
right?
a fake freedom.
Yeah.
You see, it's like, I don't like it. It's so anywhere else you go in the world, I think they say it's the best, it's the freedom. A lot of people complain about crime. Europe, a lot of that. But you can't compare France with the whole United States.
Right. It's a much different dichotomy, right?
It's the size. Compare France with Montana.
Right.
They're about the same size.
Sure. Yeah.
So look at the crime in Montana. How many people die and how many people die in France?
Right. All of Europe is about the size of Texas.
Yeah. So you see, so you can compare Spain with the whole United States.
Right.
It's unfair. That's what I tell the people. Come on, let me pick the states. Compare Spain with Vermont.
Right. And if you were to compare apples to apples, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the conditions of Europe are exceedingly worse than what it is here in the United States. And many
It's like I'm saying, it's a fake
Yeah.
freedom. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
But,
America is still the best place. I would not go anywhere else. It's just question which state now is better.
Right. And it's weird that we've even come into that type of conversation to where, you get conversations like, Florida and Texas are, right wing, but all that, and if you take that step back and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't think it's a matter of politics. It's a matter of how the perceptions of freedom, right? To where you have states that are drawing a line between federalism and state rights, right? And
It's almost
weird
like
conversations.
it's almost like the way I look at it is like I cannot choose. You, like for presidency, I never want to know the difference. It's like a magic.
Yeah.
Show me a magic. Don't tell me how you do it. Just do the magic.
Right.
I appreciate the magic. If you show me how it is, how you done, it's like, oh, I don't want to see anymore.
Right.
Same thing, Democrats, Republicans, I don't want to know the difference.
Yeah.
Because I like the way that person talks.
Yeah.
Not because they're Republican or Democrat. I never want to know the difference. But it became to a point that you have to choose.
Yeah.
It became to a point of if you don't like this person, you are racist.
Yeah.
Me, racist?
Right.
This color skin?
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. And, this is something that I talk about a lot with my family, with my friends and stuff like that. It's like, this idea of racism is it as big as an idea of what people are saying it is, or is it manufactured? I believe it's manufactured because if I look across the United States now, right, as a Gen Xer, right, I was born in 1978. Majority of my family is mixed and multicultural. I think that we are, in this generation of our country, the most diverse that we've ever been, right? We are in this, truly this idea of a melting pot, right? And we're just struggling with ideas, right, that are being personified by political leanings, and that's, I think, is the unfair position that we're being put in, and we're constantly being put against each other, right? And to the point where now the idea of being a patriot is something to be questioned. Like, it's a negative thing. Why is it negative to have a love of my country? I don't have to love my government, but I certainly love where I come from, right? Especially being an American. I could have been born in, I don't know, Iran, and life would be incredibly different, right?
Yes. Anywhere else.
Yeah,
Anywhere
absolutely.
else.
Brazil, right?
In Brazil,
Yeah,
life would be very different.
Yeah.
People have no idea what it is not to have cops on the street.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
Or take forever for them to show up, like in Spain.
Right.
Call the cops, they'll take forever to come over. It's like the response is not like over here. It's
The false blanket of security that the Americans get the benefit of, right? Is not that way in other parts of the world. Right?
But still, America is still, like I said, I'm going to say it again, the best place to live.
100%, 100%. And
But
it's
again-
encouraging to see the next generation of your family standing up and taking that oath and putting on the uniform for the simple belief that we are the best country in the world.
Yes,
right?
my younger son just joined the army. But it's still, the problem is like, if I don't like on the politics, if I don't like because she's a female, oh my God, you don't like her because she's a female. No, I don't like the way she presents herself, like the way she talks, what she wants to do with the country.
Right.
Oh, you're racist because you don't like because he's black. It's like, there's nothing to do with that. Oh, you don't like because he's Latino, you're racist. How can I be racist? I'm Latino, I'm Brazilian.
Right. Right.
So, oh, you don't like it because they label you and they tag you with that. And if I don't like that person, it's like, oh, you don't like it because you are this way. It's like,
yeah,
nah, I just don't like the way they present themselves.
Right. You don't have to like every message that people are producing, right? Doesn't make me hate that individual, right? And you know, I've worked with a lot of interesting people in the things that I do, right? I'm up on Capitol Hill a lot, and I'm interfacing with all sorts of politicians. And there are many that I do not care about their style of politics, right?
I don't have to be friends with everybody.
Right. But we are aligned on missions that are important to, you know, communities across this country that, you know, the only way that we're going to be able to solve these problems is by coming together and working together and saying, hey, you know, what can we do? What assets and what resources can we provide to solve this problem? And how can we do that in a collective to really bring the resources that are necessary and the visibility to these things to solve these problems, right? And that's where I think we get caught up, and probably mostly because of, you know, agendas, social media, all these other, you know, outliers, right? You know, we're both old enough now that we remember the time before there was social media, right?
Those cell phones.
Right?
You don't remember that, but I do.
Right? You know, we had to pay. The only way that I found out that you know, as a poor young man, the exploits of Royce Gracie in MMA fighting, I had to go to Blockbuster to rent that.
Yep, and rent
and wait 2 weeks because it was the hottest VHS tape on the shelf.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, how far we've come, but you know, in the same respects, you know, it comes down to you know, where we need to go, right, and the things that we need to do. And you know, one of the things I've always loved about the what you do within your community, the things that you talk about, and the focus that you bring is discipline, right? Discipline in the things that you do, discipline in self, and the behavioral conditioning, you know, in which you understand that, you know, conditioning is more beyond physical, right? It is also mental conditioning, right? So you know, share with us a little bit, you know, of those beliefs, because I think it's important in the world that we are living in today that we have to constantly change our mindset to move forward.
It's I just saw somebody just sent me a little article about they did a test with rat, and they put a rat in a glass of water, and I think it was like about 30 minutes was the limit when the rat was about to drown. They took it out, dry, let it rest for a bit, and put it back in the water. He swam for 60 hours on the second time.
Wow.
Because now it's like, and the whole purpose was just the guy that sent it to me saying, hey, our mind can go beyond what we think.
Yes.
On the first, he's like, okay, 30 minutes about the limit. I'm going to drown. Okay, I give up. But you took it out, dry, let it rest for a bit, put it back in the water, you swim for 60 hours. It was to, it's thinking, okay, somebody's going to come over and rescue me.
Right.
Somebody's going to come over and rescue me. Hey, when somebody's coming over, when somebody's swim forever,
Right.
you see, before he's starting to drown again.
Yeah.
So same thing with the human body. That was the whole purpose. It's like, hey, we can go way beyond our limits. So sometimes we don't even think about pushing.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Mammoth challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's doable. That's why I told my son at the Rangers that he's going to the Rangers. He's at infantry school right now. By April, he'll be done with infantry, and then he'll start up with the Rangers. But I already told him, people already passed the Rangers, the courses before. People graduate, some people quit, but a lot of people graduate.
Yeah.
So it's possible. It's not something impossible. Nobody never done it before.
Right.
So it's a mental.
Exactly. There's an end state.
It's
Right.
people did it before you, and people will do it after you. It's not impossible. You see, so it's a lot of mental work.
Now, and how do you take that idea and then apply it into, I don't know, 5-6-year-olds that are just getting into jiu-jitsu?
Okay, sports in general, not just jiu-jitsu, teach kids discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Kids show up late. The coach is not going to let you play. Going to make you run around extra laps. You show up, even though I don't care if it's your fault or not. I know mom and dad brought you, showed up late. It's not your fault, but you're going to pay for it.
Right.
Tell them to come together early. Get on time. You see? And coaches do that. The parents, oh my God, I can't believe you're punishing my kid. It was my fault. Well, be on time next time, mom, dad.
Right.
You see? So it's if you show up without the uniform, you won't play. You show up to a soccer game without your shoes or cleats, you're not going to play.
Right.
So, sorry. Well, but it's not my fault. Dad didn't pack for me. Well, next time, check before you come over.
Pack your own shit, kid.
Yep. Learn how to
Right.
be. It is teaching discipline. So, martial art, like sports, teach a lot of that from a young age.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the kids that play sports, they learn discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, when I was a young man getting into martial arts, I think my father put me into it for emotional regulation, right? To earn that discipline, emotional regulating. Because I remember as, a 6-7-year-old that I had a terrible attitude as a kid. And that was my father's way of saying, we need to get this under control, right? And you needed to learn some discipline, right? And I had to learn the hard way, right? Because I was that kid that was getting smoked, right, in the back of the gym, and doing all the extra laps and this, that, and the other. And it wasn't because my father and my mother brought me in late. It was I just had a bad attitude, right? Unfortunately, that carried all the way into my teenage years. And it was the Marine Corps that had to break that, right? Like the wild pony.
But sometimes, okay, my instructors always come up to me and it's like, hey, Royce, I have this kid that's super hyperactive in the class and disturbs the whole class. Kids.
Yeah.
He disturbs the class. It's like, well, maybe he's not hyperactive. Maybe he's a leader. Why don't you put him?
Oh, wow.
He's 8 years old. Put him to help a 5 years old.
Yeah.
And tell him, hey, I got a little one for you over here. Help him out.
Right.
And they're like, oh my God, never thought about this. It's awesome. Yes, it's the kid's a leader. He wants to show off that he's a leader.
Right.
He wants to take over the class, your class, when you're teaching. So instead, let him take over your class. You bring him as your helper. That's why I tell my guys, do the demonstrations with him. And he's going to feel like, yeah, I'm important.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm leading the class. Now, can you go help the little ones? Not somebody bigger, because it becomes a challenge to him.
Right.
Go help the little ones. Okay. And it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not hyperactive. Sometimes they just want to be leaders and and nobody let them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, if we only thought about this in academics.
When you were a kid,
right. It was like, oh, hey, your kid's got ADD. Here's some medicine. Like, dope him up, right?
Yep.
Like, well, no, that's not it. Like, maybe it is just a change of
Maybe
perspective.
he does have ADD. I'm not saying that doesn't exist.
Sure.
But a lot of the times, the kid want to be a leader. Some kids are shy. Some kids are made to be leaders.
Yeah.
They want to lead. They want to be in front of the crowd. They want to tell people what to do. It's like, well, capitalize on that.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating. Now, I'm sure that it's experience that got you to that ability to identify those perspectives and come with such a fresh idea of something so simple. Give the kids some responsibility, right?
Yep. But yes, I learned a lot from my family, from my father. A lot of people think that my father taught us how to fight. No, he taught us how to teach.
Yeah.
Fighting was just for the fun of it.
Yeah.
He get paid to fight. Oh my God, it's awesome. but he made the teachers.
Yeah.
So that's why we grew up. We can identify such a thing.
Yeah. That's a great point there.
Kind of like bullying. I was teaching a class a few years ago, and a big kid, bigger than, let's say, a 12-year-old. He looks like a 14, 15, but 12 only.
Yeah.
Big kid, thick kid. I was like, he came over to me in the middle of the class, kids class. He's like, hey, Mr. Gracie, are you going to teach anything against bullying? I look at him, I already figured out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So you want to learn something against bullying? He's like, yeah. Can you? I was like, why? They bullying you at school? He's like, yes. And I go, what they do to bully you? They bump shoulders on you and I bump shoulders with him. He look at me like, yeah. And they slap you on the back of the head and I slap him on the back of the head. He's like, he act confused like, yeah. But confused like, you're doing to me.
Right. Well, he bullied
and
me.
they trip you and I kick his leg. He's like, he's totally confused. And I was like, yep, that's how big boys play. You're bigger than them, aren't you? He's like, yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead and bump shoulders with them, make them go on the ground.
Yeah.
That's not bullying, that's how big boys play, man.
Right.
There's a big confusion on what's bullying and what's not. Everybody's always, I'm getting bullied. I don't like the way you talk to me. Really?
Right.
Talk back or walk away. Don't talk to that person anymore.
Right. The days of sticks and stones may break my bones are over.
Yeah.
Right. Now
So
it's like,
they
oh
keep-
God, you've offended me.
Yes. Yeah, you sold me. So I told the kid, hey, step them back. It's his bump shoulder. He opened up a big smile like he never heard that before.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I was like, you're bigger than them. So that's not, are they beating you up? 3, 4, 5 of them jumping you after school and beating you up on the corner? He's like, no. Well, that's bullying on my book.
Yeah.
Because they pass by you and trip you, and we do that to each other as an adult today.
Right.
Come on.
I think I just knocked a handful of files out of someone's hand before he got here.
So that's not bullying. That's how we big boys play. It's like, okay, he opened up a big smile.
Oh, that's great. Did he ever come back and say, "Oh, this is what I did," and this is how?
No,
worked?
I never asked him. I let it go. I let it go.
Yeah.
I'm against telling the kid what to do exactly. Like go over there and beat him up. I hear a lot of parents say that.
Right.
You can't tell because he's the kid's mind. He doesn't know why am I gonna go over there and beat him up because he punched me, but that's not enough.
Right.
So it's a very harsh thing to tell a kid go over there and beat him up or trip them or that's a play. That's how you want to play with them. That's how they play. Or walk away, don't play with them.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say, hey, go over there and beat them up. And it's a different use of the words.
Yeah. I mean, we're not John Kreese over here from Cobra Kai. Absolutely. Now, we were talking a little bit about your family in the background. What the legacy of the Gracie family, right, is rather interesting, and the next chapters of those of that legacy is being penned now. We were talking about your son joining the United States Army and the aspirations of soon becoming an Army Ranger. Like how do you feel like that is in the story of the legacy of your family? Can you share a little bit about us of the pride of your son joining the United States military?
I'm going through with him.
That's great.
Drill Sergeant is a friend of mine, so he always sending me pictures, videos of him, all the stock.
Yeah.
I already visited him doing boot camp once, and I told him, "You special kid because no other parent comes over here."
Yeah, right.
And I told him if it happens that when you join the Rangers, I'll find who is in charge. And I'll go teach. That's the beauty of my job. I can go teach them. Hey guys, you want me to go come teach you?
Right. That's a hell of a benefit.
And if you go somewhere to defend that country, I'm going with you.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I'll be right there next to you, man. I'll find who is in charge and I'll go teach there. I'll happen to be in Afghanistan teaching that day.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
So it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And were you there on his day of graduation? What kind of a feeling were you going through at that moment?
He just graduated from boot camp.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't go.
Okay.
I'm scheduled to go when he graduated from infantry school.
Very good.
But I was there visiting, doing a speech for the squadron before the graduation. I'm already scheduled to go again to teach them. I'm gonna go teach them for a day over there, and then learn how to shoot with them.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm gonna go learn how to shoot with them.
I love it because I'm listening and I'm taking mental notes because my son joins the Navy, or he leaves for Navy boot camp in July of this year, and I hope that I can perform a few of those same things.
Where is he going to be at?
Great Lakes, Chicago, a naval recruit training center. So the NTC up there, and so he leaves. Funny story, like I joined the Marine Corps.
I can probably find out who is in charge and go teach. We can go teach a class to them.
That would be amazing, amazing. Because I'm already thinking about all the things I want to do with messing with him while he's in boot camp, right? And do
mess with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're gonna make it difficult. I'm trying to kind of like encourage, and go with him.
Right. See, I'm an old salty Marine that likes to see other people in misery. I'm a sadist. I think we've talked about this about when we were at Mammoth, right?
Yeah.
But no, but I'm super excited about that, and for me, like knowing, I joined the Marine Corps on July 14th, 1997. Went to boot camp and graduated October 10th of that same year. My son is leaving July 14th. This year to go to NTC naval training, and I believe he graduates sometime in September. But leaving on the same day, I mean that's some almost 30 years on the day. That's amazing.
Question.
Yeah.
What made him join the Navy, not the Marines?
Well, that's a great question, right? And I think my son has unfortunately seen 17 years of his father struggling with combat and the aftermath of combat, and the demons that I've had to be dealing with over all those years. And he understands my love for the Marine Corps. He understands my love for my brothers and the people I fought with. But he also sees me struggle with all those things. And I think the conflict for him has always been, how do I have this love for country, and he's talked about it at length over the years. But he also doesn't want to, he doesn't want to go through all those experiences that I'm going through, but he wants to participate. So, he asked me, he's like, Dad, I want to join the military, and I'm thinking about joining the Marine Corps. I was like, let me ask you one question, son. And this is the only question I'll ask, right? Is, are you prepared to shoot another man in the face, take another man's life? And, he's a good Christian boy, right? I raised him very, grounded in the idea that there's something bigger out there. And he came back to me and said, you know what, Dad, I'm not prepared to do that, but I'm prepared to still give my life for my country. And he's like, maybe it's the Navy, maybe that's where I need to go. And his mother, my ex-wife, is a Navy veteran. Her father was in the Navy. So I found, I was like, that's a good answer, son. And, let me help you and try to explore what that looks like. And, started working with him on what jobs there were in the Navy that, meets the expectations of what he wants. And, he said very simply, all I want to do is experience the world. I want to see the world outside of the United States, and I want to contribute in my country's safety. And to me, that I believe is a great answer for anybody that wants to join the military.
You should have sent him to me. I travel 7 months of the year all over the world.
Right.
You would definitely experience the world. And you'll be helping a lot of people in this country and everywhere else.
Maybe my daughter. I'll send my daughter with you. She is, and very much the same. I have a 14-year-old daughter. And she has an incredible love for this country. Do I think that she's going to pursue something in the military? I don't know. I hope so. But I can only I don't want to influence. I want to just show for me that it is very important to have a love of country and to have pride for the things that your country stands for. And here in America, I think that's worth dying for.
My son. For sure, yes. My son visited several colleges, came back and said, I don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but you got to find a job. Can't be a bum at home. Either come teach with me, go teach you, go. I don't care where you work. Doesn't matter to me. but you got to get a job. Can't be a bum.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to serve. All right. He's like, you're not upset? I was like, not at all, man. Go for it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm going with you.
We're in this together.
He's like, I was like, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to go to the Army Rangers. Just to make sure. I was like, why Army Rangers? Why not somewhere else?
Right.
The Marines, the Navy, the Air Force. And his answer was, I want to be boots on the ground, kicking doors. I want to be the first one through the door. I was like, all right, Call of Duty did you good.
Right.
So he's like, I want to be boots on the ground. I want to kick doors. I was like, go for it. You're going to do plenty of that. Yeah. So, yep.
That's fantastic.
He's like, you're not upset? I was like, not at all. Not at all.
And it reminds me of like, and I've said this, I've told this story several times, but I think it's important, right? Is, everybody has their own experience when the first time they thought about joining the military, right? And your son will tell his story to his children at some point in his life, because there is a moment in time that you have to make this cognitive decision, right? You're going to explore things, and you're going to come to that point like me. I was like, well, I'm going to join the military, right? I'm going to go do my thing. And for me, it was I told my mom I wanted to join the Marine Corps. My mom was mortified. Right, she'd come from the Vietnam period, Chicago, great number of draftees coming out of that area, and most of the men that she went to high school with died in the country of Vietnam, and so I didn't understand that, right? I had no real perception of what that was at 16, 17 years old. So for her to take that time and say, you know what, I think you really need to understand what you're getting yourself involved in here. And at that time, I was living in Raleigh, North Carolina. We drove up to Washington, D.C. together on Memorial Day, of all days. And, that was probably one of the most memorable moments of my life, in the fact that, you see 68,000 Vietnam veterans driving down Pennsylvania Avenue, celebrating their term in service. Got to see that, and I was in such awe. Then my mother took me to the Vietnam War memorial and looked up nearly every one of the men that she could remember and copied their names off of that wall. And for the first time in my life, I was actually seeing my mother cry from things that I didn't make her cry for. Right? And I was like, man, now it's starting to make a little bit more sense to me. And on the car ride home, we were there for 2 days. On the car ride home, she's like, what do you think? Is this what you want to do after seeing all of the things and the memorials? And we visited all these different memorials outside the Vietnam one. And I was like, Mom, I think after this experience, that my convictions are even stronger. That I know that I'm doing something that is more than me. And for my entire life, I've felt that there's something out there that is more than me. That I'm here to do other things that are beyond myself. And that is what opened the door for here we are. Almost 30 years later.
You're talking about your daughter. My daughter she's been talking about being intel.
Oh, yeah.
For the Army. I think she wants to watch. She's 16. She wants to watch over the brother. So she wants to make sure that he's going to the right spots.
There you go.
So she wants to work on the intel. And so I was like, go for it. If you want to do it, go do it.
Yeah. That's my sister was a Navy in that side. And, I think for very same reasons, right? I'm the oldest of my family, and behind me, I have 3 brothers that all joined Marines. 2 of them were in combat. My sister joined the Navy; she was in Afghanistan in combat. And I'm very proud of that. To know that the influence that I had and that I did it the right way, that I set the example for my family. And I come from a big South Chicago family, right? Southside Irish, Polish, German family, and I have 32 cousins. The Jensen family is the only family that has stood up and served their country. So I'm proud of that.
But it wasn't forced.
Right.
Same thing in my family. We were never forced to teach, to fight, to serve. So it's a choice.
Yeah.
And that comes from a young age, teaching the kids how to choose, which sports you want to do, and it's creating that discipline from a young age.
Yeah, back to discipline, right? It's everything is discipline, right? The most successful people in the world are successful because they have set processes in place that forces them to be disciplined in their actions, right? And conditioning in their own behaviors and their physical, their mental, all these things, right? They're cognizant of, right? You can again look across all these successful people. Discipline is the constant.
What I say all the time is there's a lot of tough guys out there. There's a lot of talented people out there. But without discipline, they're not going to stay on top forever.
Right.
Talent goes away. Toughness definitely goes away too.
Yeah.
So one day you lose both. You have to have discipline to stay on top forever.
Yeah, that is 100% right. I mean, I could tell you several stories of being up at 1 o'clock in the morning working with Grunt Style, saying, "What the hell am I doing?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because if I'm sleeping, the competition is getting stronger, right? And constantly working.
But you are not working because you enjoy.
Right? Yeah. There's that.
It would be miserable if you did not enjoy.
Yeah. It'd almost be like a prison sentence.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And my son serving, one of the things that he's missing the most, he already told me several times, is jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Going back to that, he's like, I'm going to do my 4 years. After 4 years, we'll see if I'm going to continue or if I'm going to step down and come out and start teaching.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, it's your choice, not mine.
What do you, if you were to place a bet, what do you think? Will he do a career or will he be doing 4?
At this age, 19 years old, they change their minds like every day, man.
Like their underwear.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
They wake up, they want to do something else, something different. But that's the thing that he missed the most.
Yeah.
Is
That's great. Now, does he miss doing the jiu-jitsu or does he miss doing jiu-jitsu with his father?
Both.
Yeah.
With me.
Yeah.
I teach them at home. So
yeah,
we go to the school, teach seminars, travel. It's been all over the world too already.
Yeah.
With me teaching and learning, and so miss both.
How so you have a son and a daughter, any other children?
4, 2 boys and a girl.
Okay. And how close are, like, I'm imagining every one of them you have a unique relationship with.
Oh yeah.
What is a day in the life of a Gracie family
They
member?
are, my father used to say that, and I totally agree. They're your kids until about 17, 18. After that, they're not your kids anymore.
Yeah.
They hope to become your friends. Sometimes they're not even your friends. They don't have nothing to do with parents.
Yeah.
But until 16, 17, 18 years old, they're your kids. After that, they're not your kids anymore.
Yeah.
So let's hope they become friends. My brothers.
Yeah.
And sometimes they introduce my brother. I was like, we can hang out together any day, kids.
Oh, I love that. That's
Are you guys
pure.
all related? Yep, we're all brothers. All right, cool.
Is that how they get down in Brazil? Oh, that's great. That's great. I love that. That's pure, right? I mean, and I've never heard it put that way before, and I think you're absolutely right. And I'm coming up against that right now. I'm watching my first child leave the nest, right? And I'm having a lot of feelings about that, right? And I've never thought I would be in this position. I'm like, why am I getting so soft thinking about my boy going down into the world? I'm like, he's a Jensen. He's gonna be fine. I'm like, well, that's just you being bravado.
It's gonna be what's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like my brother used to say, God rides straight and crooked lines, and curved lines. So, but it's gonna be, you gotta let it go.
Yeah. And it's gonna be tough, but I'm super excited. Right.
That's why we have big families. In the Gracie family.
Yeah. There you go.
We always inside our family. There's a lot of. I'll send my kids to go live with my cousins. My cousins would send kids to live with me. We're always changing.
Yeah.
There's always somebody from the family coming over and stay at the house for a few months, a year, 2 years, then go home. It's like boot camp. Come over, hang out with me, and I'll send my kids over there too. The other brother or cousin. Yep.
Now, is the larger Gracie family all living in the United States, or do you still have some back in Brazil?
So many. We're spread out all over the world, man.
Oh, that's great. You always have somewhere to lay your head, right?
Yep.
That's fantastic. Now, what are some of the big projects that you're working on these days?
living life,
Yeah. Yeah.
traveling and teaching,
Yeah.
traveling the world all 6-7 months of the year,
Yeah.
teaching everywhere.
Well, it's got to be amazing because every time I see you, you have a beaming smile.
That's what I'm saying. People ask me, what do you do for a living? I live life.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's all day.
That is amazing, and now it's a days full of hunting, right? And
There's a season.
Yeah.
There's a time.
yeah,
And but I'm not a. Okay, this past year, I became a trophy hunter, but not trophy. To kill something that I don't eat.
right,
If I shoot it, I want to eat. But now, like deer, got plenty of meat. But now it's like, okay, if I get a trophy one, I'll wait and I'll shoot the trophy one so I can get the meat and the trophy.
right, right.
But until now, until last year, I don't care. I'll leave the trophy for somebody else.
Yeah.
I'll just take the meat.
Yeah.
A buck and a doe, I'll take the doe any day.
Yeah. And
But now it's like start to kind of like, okay, I'm going to start to get some trophies and some nice size ones if I see it. If not, that's fine. I'll go home without it.
Yeah.
It's hunting.
Yeah. Do you have a trophy room of heads?
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting there.
You have to.
Getting there.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts on conservation when it comes down to proper land management of animals, right?
That's what I was saying. There's a season. There's
Yeah.
a time. I respect that. I'm not a poacher.
Yeah.
No, it's not killing the animal just to take the horn, the antlers, and go home. No, I want the meat. I don't leave anything behind. The hide, the antlers, the skull, everything. The meat comes home, and the leftovers, the guts, some other animal, leave it there for some other animal to eat. So go back to the land.
Yeah.
And it's not just a poacher, or I respect. Okay, there's a time, there's a season. I'll wait.
Do you find as you've gotten older that these things have become more important to you in terms of roll back to 25-year-old Royce Gracie? Did you have the same feelings of I don't know
Being here long enough. I'm 55 now.
yeah
Been here long enough. I just want to hang around more so I can see where my kids go.
Yeah.
What do they do with their lives?
yeah
But what else do I want to do? Been there, done that.
yeah
What else I want to go? If I want to go, I'll go tomorrow.
yeah
I'm not gonna wait 10 years from now. No. I'm in favor of jump now.
yeah. Well, speaking of jumping, we'll have to get you down to. You like jumping out of airplanes?
I've done a couple times.
Yeah.
I did the first time I did it with the boys at Bragg, the D boys at Fort Bragg.
Yeah.
Took me out. Everybody got parachute in the plane. I'm the only one without it. Door is open. Plane go out in a spiral. I go to the door. I look at them. I look down. I go, if I jump, can you guys catch me? They got so serious.
Yeah.
Mr. Gracie, you will die. Sit down now. They start to yell at me. I looked down. I was like, I got about 6 chances. You will die. We're not gonna catch you.
Right.
Do not jump. Sit down now. I was like, okay. I sat down. They put the hooks on me so I don't get up anymore.
Yeah.
But then I jump another time with the guy, and the guy's like, okay, I'll give you the signal. You pull the cord. We're flying. He goes like this. I go, yeah. He goes like, yeah. He's like, stupid Brazilian. forgot to pull the cord.
Right, we're gonna die.
He pulled the cord and we get down. He's like, I give you the signal. I was like, I thought you were saying everything is cool. I was like, yeah, everything is cool. He's like, that was the signal for you to pull the cord. I was like, oh shit. That's why I cannot jump by myself. I'll forget to pull the cord. I have to go with somebody.
Yeah. Well, the beauty of this would be static line, right? And so once you come out of the aircraft, it would eject the canopy itself, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I think it'd be fun for you.
If I can do that, yes, because I'll definitely forget to pull.
Yeah. So there's 3 parts of static line jumping, right? There's the beginning, the middle, and the end, right? Like everything else. The middle is the most fantastic part of the entire experience. The beginning and the end are the most terrifying parts of the experience.
What's the beginning?
The beginning is the flight up, right? And you get the pre-flight jitters. You're sitting with everybody in the stick, and you're like, for me, every time I've always been in the rear of the stick, I'm like, man, why am I doing this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever done.
I'm like, yes, we're gonna die, jump. We're gonna die. We're gonna fly.
Right? Then you make it out of the aircraft, right? And that the point up until you have full canopy, terrifying, right? Because you're like, oh no, am I is everything gonna be okay, right? Don't I have to pull my MERPs? And I got a whole story for that one. But so then you're flying and you're gliding down to earth, and you're like, wow, this is the coolest thing in the world. It's the most quietest you'll ever. I've never experienced quietness as I did my first jump. I'm like, this is the most peaceful environment I've ever been in. And I'm floating. I'm like, oh God, okay, now I need to land. Right?
You're hitting the ground hard.
Yeah, and I'm like, why? There's no brakes on this thing, right? You're jumping with some old canopies, and as I'm coming in, you got to do the whole PLF, and there's a whole process for that. And every single time I mess the PLF up, right? And I practice.
What's that?
So it's your parachute landing fall, and there's a specific way that you are to do that, and you come down, straight down, right? Or not straight down, but you're playing with the wind, and you hit, and it's toes, ball of foot, ankle, calf, thigh, butt. And it's this whole rolling process. So, very much like doing a roll in jiu-jitsu, right? There's a certain way you roll that, and your body takes all the absorption. I cannot get that right. My PLFs are so bad that it looks like I'm like landing on Earth and I'm dead. Like I'm just like a lawn dart sticking out of the earth. And it's painful. But it's the coolest experience ever.
Even today, you cannot slow down? Because I jump with the guys and they always we almost click.
Oh, but yeah, those are professional parachuting, right?
Yeah,
tandem. You're doing a tandem on a professional rig, like a C-class rig. We're doing the only thing you get to do is guide where the scene of the crime is going to be. Even today? So, on the newer squares that they're using in the military, there are brakes and they have more controls. But the ones that we are using, not that way. No, sir.
Yeah.
It's old school, right?
That's why a lot of people have feet problem, knees,
oh yeah,
hip.
shit, yeah, everything, right? But it's fun nonetheless, right? We'll have to get you up there, and another one of those things where I'll reach out to command to get your son to jump with you, because how cool it would be, because during this process, if you complete 6 jumps, you get your jump wings, right? And you can wear your jump wings, in all sorts of environments. So we get you up there 6 times, we get you through. Your son can go, wing you, and put those on you. So
yeah.
We'll see if you're up to it.
We gotta just pulling the cord is a good problem. I'll forget. I'll be like, oh my God, I'm flying. That's cool. Right. I can go left. I can go right. Oh, cool. I can spin. I can go fast.
Yeah.
I'll totally forget the cord.
That's how I am. I always catch myself. I'm like, oh, this is so pretty. I'm like, oh, I gotta land. Boom. Maybe that's where I always mess up, as I'm always caught up in the scenery. But so it's good stuff. We'll have to get you out there sometime.
I'm game.
Yeah, there you go. It's Kelsey DeSantis, a Grunt Style employee of ours and a dear friend, and a dear friend of yours, right? You guys have known each other for quite some time, and we've been able to connect.
She's involved in the martial arts business, fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to pick your brain on how badass of a fighter she is, because I know that she's
not badass. She's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. Maybe I'm thinking she's a badass in many other ways, in her business, in the way she conducts herself. I just think of her as a badass individual, right? But since you've been interacting with the brand over some time, you've come to have a favorite shirt, and it's one that you're wearing. Why is that one of all the shirts? Why does that one stick out to you the most?
Because people think that this is a weapon.
Yeah,
it is not.
Right.
It's a tool.
That's right.
I am the weapon. It's like down the back. It's like it fits the profile, man. It fits. It's like that's
you
me.
say it so eloquently.
This is a tool, man. Right. It's not a weapon. I am the weapon. I can do it, man.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, because I think standing in the corner is not going to do anything by itself.
Yep.
Right?
But I will.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to be on the
Don't look wrong. Don't look at me wrong.
It's fantastic. Well, Royce, it's been an incredible honor. You're such a cool individual with incredible stories and the things you're doing and the legacy that you're building, not only in the jiu-jitsu side of professional sports, but the legacy that you're leaving behind with your children and raising great Americans. What bit of word of advice would you give everybody that's listening, on focus and discipline? What is something that they could take away that they can apply in their everyday and maybe change a little bit about something that they're wanting to work on that they might be struggling and just need that little bit of advice on discipline?
We already talked about this, but I'm gonna go back again. Everything is possible. You just gotta have to get up and do it. People done it before you. Mount Everest. Sounds impossible. Somebody already climbed. And more people will climb after you. So before and after. So people done it. It's not impossible. You just gotta have discipline, the will, the power to get up and go do what you gotta do. Give up the good things they call in life, the sacrifice, the parties and the alcohol and the vices that people have. You gotta sacrifice all that. But it's possible. It's doable. You just gotta have the power, the will to get up and do what you gotta do.
That's fantastic. Anything is possible, and that is a message that I believe in, right? 100%. So thank you so much for everything that you do. You're an inspiration to so many, and I believe that your family will be an inspiration for many others, for generations to come. So thank you for everything for what you do. And
My
thank you for
pleasure.
Us.
Thank you.
Hoorah.